Madam, during the Parliament sitting on 5th July this year, Mr. Leong Mun Wai asserted that, quote, citizens by registration are not doing national service, unquote. Mr. Leong's assertion is inaccurate and misleading. New male citizens who stayed in Singapore when young and enjoyed economic and social benefits are enlisted when they reach 18 years of age or older. They number on average 3,400 each year, which constitute about half of all new male citizens registered each year. Let there be no doubt that for every young male citizen, whether by birth, registration, or descent, the NS liabilities are the same. We do not differentiate. They will be enlisted for national service at 18 years or older to perform full-time national service, and thereafter must fulfill their operationally ready national service duties. That is universal and equitable. But if a foreigner comes to Singapore and becomes a citizen as a mature adult, typically in his 30s or 40s, we exempt him from national service because he did not enjoy any social economic benefits like young Singaporeans, and also because he would be too old to enlist for full-time national service. This long-standing policy has served our defense needs. Over the years, permanent residents and young male new citizens have formed an increasing proportion of NS enlistees. In the early 2000s, there were about 5% of all full-time national servicemen enlisted each year. In other words, 5% of PRs and young male new citizens form 5% in the early 2000s. Today, they form about 20% of all NSFs enlisted. Of the 20%, slightly more than half are citizens by registration, with the remaining as PRs. So what Mr. Leong asserts is not true. Many new citizens are enlisted for national service every year. New citizens and PRs are contributing to our national defense. And without the extra inject of new citizens and PRs, our smaller birth cohorts would have impacted SAF's manpower needs more acutely. I have decided that it's important to correct the misleading statements put out by Mr. Leong because they strike at the foundations of equity and universality that underpin national service in Singapore. Just think about it. If pre-enlistees are misled into thinking that new citizens of their age are exempted, where will they have the heart to serve national service? The correct facts must be put out to reassure the national servicemen in the SAF and the home team. National service is the bedrock of the SAF and our national defense. MPs have the duty to ask questions and debate policies, including national service policies in this House. But they should not make misleading statements that can weaken national service, the SAF, and the home team.
The Minister has spent the last 15 to 20 minutes talking about what I've written, what I've said, and has pointed some accusation at me. So I think I'm entitled to a full speech.
You can register your objection, but no speeches, as per Standing Order 23. Ask your question, please.
Yes, just based on some of the PQs that I filed recently, and I make an estimate that over the last 21 years...
Mr. Leong, I'm going to ask you to please ask your questions and not make statements.
Okay, then I ask the Minister, what is the number of new citizens who did not do NS?
Well, we have a full display of Mr. Leong's modus operandi. He says I spent 15 minutes and we started at 3, and even with his speech it's 3:11. He says I didn't give him the facts. I gave him all the full facts. I said they form 20% of NS full-time enlistees, of which half, more than half, are male new citizens, while the rest are PRs. The facts speak for themselves. In fact, at the debate, not the debate, when I replied to his question in his PQ, why sportsmen, we had to be very selective in their deferment. My principal arguments was equity and universality. He ignored all of it and he jumped in. And now he says, well, I wasn't really referring to the young ones. I was just referring to others who were exempted. But he didn't give the facts. He has not denied that he knew all the facts. These are all the characteristics of misinformants. They give you half-truths, misleading statements. Madam Speaker, I think in the interest of today's agenda, I propose that we continue. I've stated my views. He has not defended whether he knew or he spoke out differently. He's just said that, well, he's got other questions.